Well, we're here on another episode of Salient Points number 66. This episode is for April 19th, 2022. I'm Carlos Macias, as per usual, your master of ceremony, master of arms, whatever Dalan likes to call it this week. Dalan Kirkwood.
Master of Chambers.
Master of Chambers. I'm not sure exactly what that is, Dalan, but okay. I'll just say okay. I'm not saying I accept it. I'm just going to say okay.
Okay.
Dalan Kirkwood from up in the mountains. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us this week.
Here with actual rhythm, unlike Carlos.
Okay, reasonable. You didn't have to tell the people that. Luis Mendez on the Wheels of Steel. Thank you very much for joining us, sir.
Mm-hmm.
I was saying before we recorded, I got this little mosquito battler thing or a fly swatter thing, but it's electrified. Oh, and I will murder it. There might be a mosquito murdered on live TV, which PETA don't go after us. They're just annoying.
I hope we can hear the sizzle.
It's satisfying. It's satisfying. Part of the advertisement when I got that thing is like a satisfying crunch. Hey, look, we're going to start off the podcast. I didn't put the bat signal out there this time to kind of get some comments. But if you guys would like, on YouTube, youtube.com or wherever we're at, we got comms.com, Twitter. We'll scour the internet to see if you guys have
wherever you have potentially liked and subscribed.
Liked and subscribed. And if you have any replies or questions, whatever, like Mr. Jet, we do know who he is in real IRL, apparently, Dalan. We did find out he's a great fan. Jet, give you a shout out. He put a comment on YouTube, like you guys can put down on YouTube, or questions. He said, quote, "Oh, thank God y'all finally beat that glitch ass game." And Dalan, if you forgot, we talked about Dying Light 2. We really did.
I did not forget.
It's not part of the rundown this week because we gladly finished it and it's back to Gamefly. Gamefly, we're still waiting.
I sent it off immediately.
Gamefly, you are like hitting, what is it, 66% on the podcast. 2 people are subscribed. Where is our sponsorship? We will gladly take one. But we shipped that thing back. So, and they said they're gonna. Well, it's not in the rundown this week, but the developer saying that they fixed some glitches, which whatever, right, Dalan? There's a lot going on in that game. You think they really fixed all the glitches in that co-op experience?
Well, I like the fact that we just interjected it into the rundown, but that's fine.
You don't need to do a whole comment, Dalan. I mean,
well, they should have said they were going to fix co-op play bugs, and if they do, that's great. But for me, it's too little, too late. I already
gone.
Went through the whole game. I've already experienced the hatred that comes along with it.
Yeah.
So
it is gone. it did sell 5 million. Apparently, it's not necessarily the biggest hit for them. And the original,
but it still sold more than first.
The original, the original top 20 million. The original,
it's 20
after years. See, that's why I put the ONE in the rundown, right, Luis? We were just talking about that.
Yeah, we were just talking about.
So we'll throw that in there, but yeah, so it sold quite a bit, but it's not since February 5 million.
People didn't want 500 hours of content, huh?
Yeah, and then when it's like whoa,
people were too scared.
They're like, wait, hold on, it's not 500, it's 80, and then I was like, wait, I don't even want 80. And I was like, okay, 20 hours. And Rosario Dawson is in it, so just be happy with that. And I was. So we didn't have nothing too big this past week, but I did want to get Dalan riled up right from the start. Dalan, last week the big news for you was that Microsoft was going to start putting ads in their games, which I think we've seen these ads before. Like one of the examples we gave was Burnout Paradise. But I guess they're going to be a little more active. So not only is Microsoft going to be doing it, I didn't appreciate that Obama quick comment you threw in there.
That was the billboard.
Oh. So random. I'll give you a point. I'll give you a salient point.
He was promoting his candidacy or whatever.
Okay, I'll give you a salient point.
Hey, Obama for president 2022.
So that was Microsoft last week who got you all riled up. This week, it turns out Sony is also planning to put ads in their free-to-play PlayStation games. They are planning to roll this out by the end of 2022, and we do have a quote here that says, quote, "The ads would appear in games and are meant to give game developers a way to monetize their work and encourage them to continue building free-to-play games." Dalan, so there you go. I hope you're happy about that, Dalan. That also Sony is getting in on the Rift. That's not the word, right? Help me, Dalan.
No, I'm not going to help you.
Grift.
You're just going to drown in that.
On the grift. Am I correct? Am I closer to correct on that?
Yes, you're closer with that.
So what are your thoughts here, Dalan, that Sony is also doing
it? If that is Sony's sole purpose for doing so, I can understand that. as long as these gaming companies don't while out with the ads, because as we saw with YouTube, it started out small, maybe 1, 2 ads, and then you're getting videos on YouTube where you get 20 ads in a 5-minute video. So I get irritated at those ads, but I'm still not paying for YouTube Red.
Yeah. I mean, I think, look, a lot of what you do in like mobile games is kind of like between rounds, right? You finish a round of whatever it is, Bejeweled, match 3, whatever they call it, and then you have to watch an ad, right? So I don't think they necessarily will interrupt, because YouTube is scandalous, dude. I know we put our stuff on YouTube, but YouTube in the middle of your content, right? There's an ad, right? There's an ad break. It's like, really, this is ridiculous.
Sometimes you have no idea when it's gonna come.
But yeah, but we do have to see in games. I doubt, like, for example, we talked about Burnout. In Burnout, it's not like your race is interrupted and you get an ad. It's in the billboards, which is, we see billboards wherever we drive. Luis, do you think this is what do you think about this, man? They're all getting in on this, right? It's kind of a what do you do? What do you do?
Yeah, I mean, I would find it hard to believe that this is coincidence. I don't think that Sony was also sort of doing this in tandem and then revealed it after Microsoft did. But I'm surprised they didn't wait until they saw what the impact was for Microsoft in their free-to-play games versus just like doing it and kind of waiting for them to take the bullet or be the guinea pigs and then adapting it if it works.
Yeah.
But I mean, if it's a free-to-play game, dude, I mean, they got to get some money somehow, right? So if I'm not buying something in the actual game, then at least I'll see a little ad, a banner or something, or watch a little quick video to gain a life or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like, if you're gonna put an ad, if you're gonna make a free to play game, for most free to play games, if you want people to purchase stuff in your games, just make whatever you're purchasing actually worth it. And I'm gonna actually call out Rocket League in this case, because I do like me some Rocket League, but $20 for an explosion? Why?
Sub-Zero, Dalan, that Sub-Zero explosion is fire.
People
I
buy
will
it, man.
say,
And you didn't buy it, Carlos.
Hey,
the thing you wanted for years, and you didn't buy it.
It's $20, man. I will say, every so often they do give you something nice like that. What's that? Four Blonde? What is it called? Louis?
Four Non-Blondes.
Four Non-Blonde. That song is fire, dude. And I can't help myself, but every time I get a goal in that, I gotta wave my arms, dude. And I will never skip it. And I said, hey, and I will never skip that song because it's just too great. But
quick note on that though. I'm wondering if maybe somehow Sony will try to bundle in their new subscription tiers into this. So like one of the tiers
to get rid of free ads.
Yeah. Well, they're not free ads.
Well, sorry, to get rid of ads. That's what I meant.
Yeah, and we will talk about that in a little bit. We got it a couple notes down here. A couple notes down. We'll talk about that. The PlayStation Plus tiers. We have a release date. We do have something coming up. As far as the ads, just to kind of move away from this now to the next thing is that. I think a lot of times I would rather, like we have like HBO Max, we have the ad-supported one, like they have different tiers of it where you can pay for it versus having the ads. I will usually always pay to removing the ads, but there are some ridiculous cases, and I think I brought it up last time, that there's a solitaire game that I like, and they were like $27. And I was like, get the fuck out of here, man. I'm just gonna find another app, because you gotta keep it reasonable, right? Like that solitaire game I like, if they said like $5 or something, be like, all right, I hate the ads that much, right? That I'm like, you guys keep it reasonable. Sub-Zero goal, as much as
nickel and dime people.
As nice as that Sub-Zero goal is, Dalan, it's tough, dude. $20
nope,
is tough.
$20. $20.
So speaking of app services, Apple's kind of kicking apps off their service. They're saying this is kind of their way to promote just new games and to make sure that the games that are up there are actually compatible with the new phones. Which, like I always say, I never update my phone because they're just trying to kill my battery. All right, so I never update it. But anyways, so Apple, they say that if the apps haven't been updated in the last 2 years, they will be, quote, removed from sale, end quote. And we do have there's a game company called Protopop Games that they did get an email from Apple saying, quote, this app has not been updated in a significant amount of time and is scheduled to be removed from sale in 30 days. No action is required for the app to remain available to users who have already downloaded the app. You can keep this app available for new users to discover and download from the App Store by submitting an update for review within 30 days. If no update is submitted within 30 days, the app will be removed from sale. Luis, we'll go to you first, man. You are on the App Store, right? Or you have dealt with the App Store kind of, through your companies, maybe not your hand in the cookie jar type of situation, but you've dealt with them, right? What are your thoughts on this?
I mean, it makes sense, I guess. I don't, unless they're just trying to clean up like server space and get really, really old games that haven't been updated in a long time. Because I know a lot of friends that have put apps up in the App Store and they like put up one version and just never updated it again, So if it's for that case, then sure, I guess. And I mean, it's a reasonable window, 2 years. If you haven't updated it, then just remove it, and they give you some heads up.
Yeah.
So, but I guess now the annoying part is it's annoying enough going through Apple's like submission process, but now I'm imagining that there's going to be an influx of people submitting apps for review now, and that's just going to slow down the whole thing already, and it already takes forever.
Yeah.
So, I'm wondering what the impact there will be for devs, including the company I'm working for, because we're constantly submitting apps to the App Store. So,
that might affect like games that are actually trying to be current, or apps that are actually being current and actually updating.
Yeah,
it might kind of mess with the flow of that, right? But I think it's also one of those things that it's kind of a slight barrier, because I don't think you really have to do too much, right? I look at some of these updates on some of these games, like we fixed the bug here. I'm like, really? That's all you guys did? But I would assume maybe that's good enough, right? Like a slight barrier to, there are going to be some that's like, I don't even want to go through that. And it just kind of declogs the App Store in a way, right? At least for, the new devices and the new apps that are out there.
I'm hoping that because Apple can get pretty scrutinous with like things you submit. They're like, wait, well, why is this like this? It doesn't work the way that you're saying it works, or what? Like they misunderstand something, and you have to like go back and forth. And no, this is actually like this, so it shouldn't be blocked because blah blah blah.
And that's some true power right there, right? For Apple to be like, we don't get this, explain this to us, and the developer has to be like, okay, we're gonna explain it to you. So, we're sorry that you don't understand, right? Like,
so I wonder if Apple will use that power. Someone submits an update and they like change the text on some main menu screen, and they're like, that's not a significant update. Like, I wonder if they will push back on that.
Yeah, so right. Well, I guess we're gonna find out, right? We're gonna find out soon enough. Dalan, your thoughts on this, man? Before we move on to
my thoughts are, what was their decision to just say 2 years? Because there are some programs or even games that may not actually need updating, but they're still very much in use, or people consistently download the program and delete it from their phones multiple times, and maybe it's just so complete that they don't need to update, and people are still purchasing stuff from it. But if it hasn't been updated in the past 2 years, would they still remove those, even though they're lucrative?
I think, and look, Luis, correct me if I'm wrong on any of this. This is just an assumption of not knowing anything. The only assumption that I can make is that it's completely arbitrary. It's Apple. The other thing that I can maybe kind of give them a sort of out is, I think it's probably how they work their chipset or whatever. Like, it's like, for the last 2 years, we're kind of working in a similar structure, I guess, or, whatever the guts of the phone is. The last couple cycles is basically the same. We just updated a camera here, or updated like a couple of, like the higher fidelity cameras and whatnot. So I think
but there may be stuff that's not compatible by that point, because they update their phone so much.
But I think things that haven't been updated, they have those borders. Like, I think Chrono Trigger, I just played it, in the last couple of weeks. I don't think that's necessarily updated for the latest phone, right? I think it's updated.
It's not updated for nobody.
Yeah, because I think it's updated up to whenever it dropped, 2019, 2018, or whatever it was. And now I just have like the black bar. So I think even Chrono Trigger would be one of those where it's like, I can still download it, right? Because it's on my game list, but I might not be able to buy it, right? If I never had bought it before and it hadn't been updated, right? Luis, how do you feel about that? Do you think it's kind of like, I think it's completely arbitrary, but maybe there's sort of like, they're working with the same chips within the 2-year span or something, or
I will admit it's a good way to purge old ass games, though.
At least,
I don't think it has anything to do with supporting older devices or newer devices. It's just them trying to clean up the store, like, because they've been making a push for Apple Arcade and like changing the way that they showcase like new apps and apps that are popular and blah blah. So maybe just decluttering the store, so when you search for things, it doesn't return a long list of things that aren't really that relevant anymore.
And we can get rid of those old clone of games. Like you got PUBG, but you got PUBG China version. I don't know what you would even call those.
Maybe, yeah.
And they just put it up there just for people to just download it. And I think it was a Portal game or something like that. It was a game that was the name was so close.
Bridge Constructor will continue to be on there, dude. They're gonna
No, but I can't remember. I can't remember if it was Portal. It's probably another game now that you say that. But I remember people were going to try and download a specific game, but kept accidentally downloading the wrong game because the name was so close. But they did that on purpose.
Yeah, I know. Well, yeah, of course. That's what you're gonna get, and that I'm sure they have multiple reasons, and that is one of the things that they did say was that they want to have games that are the most compatible with their latest hardware, right? I think, but they can have all kinds of reasons, and part of that is that they want to be able to purge a bunch of stuff. I think that's just
a fancy way of saying newer games.
Yeah. Anything else?
As far as the 2 years, as far as the 2 years, I think that's just an arbitrary number. 1 year is probably not long enough in their eyes for a game to be out of date, and 2 years is long enough that if you haven't made an update in 2 years, then maybe you're probably not going to update it again.
People are looking at you crazy. Well, yeah, the developer, and also why haven't you updated this phone? What's up with your phone, right? So next thing we have on here is this is from investor call from Activision, and this is via GameSpot, but they were saying that in that investor call, Activision said Modern Warfare 2 is the quote most advanced experience end quote in the history of the franchise. No other details. I'm sorry to say we don't have any other quotes or anything like that. That's basically all we have, right? In the investor call, it sounds very okay, show us what you got, right? And I guess we'll see, because it will come out this fall, right? Next year is when we're gonna have a skip, Call of Duty game will not come out next year, and we won't see a Call of Duty game in 2 years. So it better be pretty advanced, right? If it's supposed to hold up for the next 2 years. Luis, what are your thoughts, man? It's just a little tiny morsel.
I mean, I sure hope so. Yeah. I sure hope it's the most advanced Call of Duty, because they kind of missed the mark on the last two big time. So, and people are still playing Modern Warfare. That's the one everyone goes back to, even though it's the oldest active one right now.
Yeah.
What was that one game? Was it Modern Warfare Infinite? Was that the name of that game?
Infinite Warfare?
Infinite Warfare?
Maybe 3-4 years ago, though, I think.
Yeah, I know, but I was like, they went to space talking about this was
Kevin Spacey before his downfall was in that game. I think that was
really
the one.
Was.
Yeah, before his downfall, before Netflix.
And Troy Baker.
Troy Baker, there you go. Well, Troy Baker's still good, right? He's still
good
standing. He's a good
standing. Well, he almost messed up. He got into NFT music.
Some NFT nonsense, right? Yeah, I was like, whoa, hold on, don't put Troy Baker and the same. Let's be careful there. But it's kind of one of those things where you better be the most advanced game, right? Especially because if they crap the bed again, they crap the bed for the next 2 years. Right, they don't have anything, right? They have their.
Oh yeah, especially because recently they said they were changing their release cycle, right? It's not going to be one a year; it's going to be one every other year or something.
Yeah, so, and they have to figure out what they're going to do with Warzone 1, right? This is a shout out to the homie Samir in the chat. I know he was like, "What are they going to do with Warzone?" I was like, "They're probably going to get rid of it. You better enjoy it." Well, I don't know, Lisa. Actually, they got to get rid of it, right? To make room for a new 100 gigabyte download, right? They gotta get.
No, Carlos, they will not. They will make a Warzone 2 and give it different maps with new weapons.
Well, I think that's what.
But then they split the user base. I think if they do that,
yeah, but they still get money. They don't care about splitting the user base as long as the user base is still playing.
Warzone is going to be free. The whole, at least the way that they spelled it out, is Warzone was going to be their long-standing one supported title across all of Call of Duties.
Yeah.
And they would all connect to that one. So I'm assuming that just means they're going to remove the old maps and put in new ones.
Yeah, kind of what they've sort of been doing, right? It's kind of, and then how they said it's ridiculous for you guys to want to rotate maps. Didn't he say you're fucking crazy or something like that? He used strong words.
Said it. He wasn't saying the fans were. He was saying the process was crazy.
I was about to say, if that's the case, go talk to Bungie. Have you seen what they did?
They archived all their shit.
Yeah, exactly. They vaulted everything. So, So to answer your question, Samir, we'll clip it for him later, I guess. If he doesn't want to click, he should be clicking on We Got Comms, but whatevs. They're probably going to give you a new map, and to you, it will look like Warzone. It'll be a brand new experience that's tied to Modern Warfare 2, right? The next thing we have...
Hold on.
Go ahead, Liz. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, but somehow someone took over what I was saying. But
Dalan.
No,
every
no, don't put that on
everything was
me.
lining up. Everything is lining up right now to their sort of reveal schedule, where their socials have gone dark, and it seems like, from what I've been hearing, sometime between mid to late May there will be a reveal trailer for the Modern Warfare 2, but it's all still speculation. So.
Yeah, hey, it's like a shout out to. We might have a buddy that I used to kind of write for his website on Juan. Juan, if you're listening, we're gonna get you on the podcast at some point. But or actually, damn, it wasn't even him. It was someone else. It was someone else that I would write with. But so don't listen, Juan, this time. But there was another guy I would write on his website, and he'd be like, we were on a podcast, and he'd be like, they need to stop speculating, but that's all we have. All we have is speculation at the moment. Next thing on here, not speculation. This is straight up from the man himself, Miyamoto himself. Is Mario film has been delayed to April 7th, 2023. We were supposed to see it December 2022, but we're going to have to wait a little bit longer. And this is from noisypixel.net. Miyamoto has apologized for the delay, but ensures that it's for the sake of constructing an enjoyable film above all else. Dalan, are you a little sad about this? You won't get to see Chris Pratt's rendition of It's a Me, Mario.
Well, quite honestly, with everything that's been going on in the world, I'm not surprised. Once again, we're postponing something, and if they actually put some extra work into it during that time it's being postponed, why not? It's one of those things that when it comes to entertainment media, why do the fans have to have an expectation of when it's supposed to come out?
Well, look,
why can't we just get it when it's ready?
Well, look, Dalan, as we've talked about it in the last couple of weeks, is something can't be delayed if it was never given an official announcement. Mario was given an announcement.
No, it's
delayed.
Yeah, it was
delayed.
So,
it got delayed.
But still, my point is, even with them giving a date, the fact that they turned around and said, "All right, I'm going to delay it," why do fans need to be upset about that at all?
I don't know if they're upset.
I don't think anyone was upset.
I think you're assuming the fans are upset, Dan, because it's
well, I don't for things that do get delayed. All right, so I guess I'm generalizing it in this case.
Right. Okay, but we're excited, right? And they do have to show the fans this Mario because it's going to be an animated Mario, right? It's from Illumination. So they need to show us so we can either be happy or upset. Remember, it worked for Sonic. They revamped that guy because otherwise we're going to get something not right. We were definitely going to get something not right originally.
And can we at least get a poster?
The next thing on here, so I know you guys don't get into sales too much, but I thought this was kind of interesting. The MPDs did come out this past week. One of the interesting notes on there is that we have mentioned a couple times in the past before that Xbox is finally saying, like, we sold this many Xboxes. They haven't necessarily said that yet, but for this past month in March, they did beat some of their Xbox businesses best. They beat the units sold in March. The last biggest unit sold was in March 2011, so we're going back to Xbox 360, I'm assuming, right? It's about like the tail end of the 360 era. And they also beat their Xbox business's previous best in March 2014, and that was in dollars, meaning, however. And I'm assuming 2014 must have been Xbox One when they were maybe still selling the Kinect or something, right? They must have been still making some cash bucks. But Xbox business is beating previous generations, and I think that's good news. And I think it's Game Pass, right? Dalan, what do you think, man?
And the fact that they bought up everything, and they're out there, collaborating with a bunch of other companies. It's the fact that they're actually trying to work for their gamers right now, and they're making money off of it.
Yeah, the hype is real.
PlayStation, the hype is real for Xbox and PlayStation. Even though they have solid hardware, you could look back at the past 5 years and say, PlayStation, what are you doing? I still remember the whole Fortnite debacle where when you tried to move from PlayStation to any other system, you could not go back to PlayStation and you could not bring your stuff with you.
Yeah. Fortnite was definitely one that pushed them. That pushed PlayStation crossplay. So as much as I don't necessarily like Fortnite and as much as people don't necessarily care for it, there's still a lot of fans, right? But we gotta respect Fortnite, dude. They pushed them to give us because of Fortnite. We have crossplay in Rocket League, Dalan. I'll put it in as simplest terms as possible. That's why
Apple got put out in the open with their with the way they do their sales.
Oh, there was lawsuits, all kinds of shit, man. Came out. It's called Discovery.
It's because of Fortnite.
So next thing on here, Dan, we got some good news, some good Halo Infinite news. This is good for me and you, man. We play a lot of co-op games, a lot of multiplayer. Luis, you're also invited.
Wait, what? I was about to say, what about Luis?
No, but
gonna cast him out.
No, Luis is well. Give me a moment, Dan. Luis is welcome. He's busy in GTA Online. Dan, put the camera on me. Stop logging into GTA 5. All right, that's, just a little PSA there every week. So for Halo Infinite, Dalan, the co-op is set to release in August. But before that, if for Season 2 Lone Wolves, we're going to be getting some of the season updates for that, some new maps. And we're also getting Last Spartan Standing, which drops May 3rd along with the season, which is basically Battle Royale. The sole objective is to survive until the end. There was an article on Kotaku. They interviewed some of the developers over there at 343, and is one of the interesting things that came out of this is that this stuff was kind of delayed for health, but the community is still disappointed, right? That was the headline for the Kotaku article. They have a quote from 343 saying, quote, "A priority zero of team health and getting ourselves into a sustainable development rhythm so that we can deliver great experiences to all of you while maintaining a healthy work-life balance. We know we need to deliver more content and more features more quickly. Staying true to priority zero means that sometimes we need to slow down in order to stay healthy and move faster later, but we're also aggressively looking at ways to accelerate." Kind of to say it's like that, they were like, look, we're delaying this because we care about the work-life balance of the team, right? But people were still disappointed, right? People were still like, where the hell's our update? Where's our co-op? Where's that? And this is all to say, my comment on this, Dylan, it's like, the fans don't care, man. They talk a lot of shit, but they do not care. They want their game, all right? They want their game and they want their updates quick. And when they're like, oh, it's okay for a delay, it's okay for a DLC, it's like, no, they want this thing ASAP. But
are you out here reading between the lines, Carlos? Because there's a difference between being disappointed and upset. And we just made that distinction a few minutes ago when I was talking about Mario.
Okay. No, go ahead, Dalan. Please. So smoke.
No, that's it.
I'm here for the
I'm
smoke.
asking you. Do you know that the fact is that you could be disappointed in something being pushed back, and yeah, it could be disappointing. I'm a little disappointed that Mario got pushed back. I could be a little disappointed that Halo Infinite's updates got pushed back. I would love to have that co-op for us so we could actually go through the game together. Because I'll tell you right now, I loaded up that game, went through the first couple missions, and I stopped, and I got stuck on a bunch of other stuff. I still need to go back and play that game. If co-op shows up, we'll be on it.
It's my number 2 game of the year, man. Halo Infinite. No, but look, I'm picking up what you're putting down. People can be upset, right? They can be disappointed, but it's also, for Halo, people were coming out swinging, dude, and people were like, "Where's our update? Where's our co-op?" I think we mentioned it on here also, right? But
hey, we just don't need another. We don't need another No Man's Sky. That's what that is.
I mean, come on, dude. Halo Infinite with No Man's Sky. This is like a 100, 200, 300 person team. I don't know how many it is. No Man's Sky is 12 people. And Sean Murray is still over here like the next game is going to be as ambitious as No Man's Sky. Come on, man. What's happening here? Yeah, so we're playing this co-op. I like I said, I'm picking up what you're putting down. I still feel like the fans got to be realistic about it and just be patient. But there's a lot of hate out there. There's a lot of like, why isn't the game updated? This thing isn't loading. And but we're getting something. May 3rd, Last Spartan Standing. I'm down to try it out. Battle Royale, everything.
Hey, and I do also think that over the next year, we're going to have a lot more games that are built with more in a more solidified way. Because over the past 2 years, as these games have tried to release and they've had these compartmentalized and sometimes working from home people, Luis, that you may not always get a together game, or they may not be able to communicate together the way that they should, but they tried their best to put that game together with the information that they had. And I believe that over the next year or two, that with offices reopening and people now doing their stupid, I guess, meta meetings, I don't know why they're doing that, but maybe they'll actually get some better stuff done. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I think it's a case by case basis. I think part of the Halo Infinite thing, maybe, as people were saying, it's maybe because it's Game Pass, right? Maybe because they were like, look, it's Game Pass. The people, we're still gonna get 10 million people day one, or 20 million, or however many it is, right? And it's over time. It's on Game Pass. You have it for free. Enjoy it, right?
No, I think it's a case of focus.
Focus, but like I said, I think the distribution model matters. I think it does matter, the fact that if it was a game, like if it was a Sony product and Halo Infinite's coming out like that, Sony was like, hold on. Like this next story, God of War Ragnarok apparently has not been delayed to 2023, and this is from Bruno Velasquez. He is the animation director, I believe. I didn't put it down, but he's on Twitter. He works on the game. He works at Sony Santa Monica, and he said Ragnarok is coming this year. And this was a tweet from April 20th at 8:14 a.m. So I like it. Look, I like it. I like that they're like, no, it's coming out this year, but this shit ain't coming out this year, man. I mean, I'm sorry. This God of War Ragnarok.
You're like, why isn't it being delayed? But when did when did the other God of War come out? It was 2018.
I think 2018. Right?
Yeah, it was 2018,
yeah.
And that gives them 4 years. And you know that everybody's been waiting for the next God of War game. They could have been working on that from day one. I understand COVID slowed them down a little bit, but they have honestly had a good amount of time.
Look,
most game creators take about 3 years to make massive AAA games. They've had 4.
If they're reusing assets like that little boat animation that the fans love so much, it'll be out this year.
If the assets work, keep using them. You can still do a lot in a day, but if you've already got it done, you could do more.
I see. I'm thinking. I'm not even thinking like God of War 2018 to this one. I'm thinking like this is like Last of Us 1 to Last of Us 2 style. Please, are you with me on this? But how long?
Different companies.
No, it's different companies, but they're the same like craftsmanship and perfectionist. I would assume. Am I right? Am I right, Luis? Is this coming out this year? What do you think? Even
I had no expectations for it coming out this year. I honestly could have sworn I heard them say it was delayed until next year.
Yeah.
So I don't know if maybe that was just a rumor or someone saying something that I caught wind of, but I'm not betting. I'm not betting on this year.
But what do you think of this guy like putting it on internet wax that
it's on wax?
Internet wax that Ragnarok is coming this year. What do you make of that? What do you?
I mean, for someone of his position, because I know you didn't write it down, but I'm pretty sure it was animation director. You said something like it was like a higher up position.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm assuming he got it cleared with a handful of people of like, this is coming out this year, right? And just decided to tweet it, or probably even got permission to tweet it too.
Yeah,
because I actually think that day that Corey Barlog also said something like that, or it was last week at least, if it wasn't that day.
Yeah. It was tricky. The wording was tricky because I even had to look this up. It's like, I got to make sure. Wait, what are they? No, it's not coming out this year. But they're like, it's still coming. And I was like, okay, maybe an announcement is coming this year. And then I was like, no, I found a tweet from the animation, like I said, the animation director, or, someone that works on the game at Sony Santa Monica, saying it's coming this year. So, but look, they can have all the hopes and dreams that it will come out this year. And then when I'm right later on, during this year,
he said it. Then when I'm right, don't even worry about the potential. When I'm right,
I want to play it. I would like to play it in the holiday, but hey, if I don't know,
you're gonna be disappointed when it gets delayed, Carlos.
I'm gonna be very upset. I'm gonna be on the internet like it's like, keep telling me about your health, work, life balance. I don't want to hear it. The next thing we have on here is Rocket League Deathmatch mode is dropping. That mode is dropping out temporarily this week. It's gonna run from April 27th to May 10th. It's called Knockout Bash. It's a 4v4 mode. It's gonna have attack, block, and grab mechanics and no ball involved. So this one, shout out to Jonathan, my brother Jonathan. It's like, this is like his mode. Because anytime we play with him, it's bully ball.
It's demolition mode.
It's demolition mode, and we like it though, because it's definitely like it's messing up the other characters. So it turns into, from 3v3, it turns into 2v2, because he's really like destroying the other cars. We got a quote from the Rocket League developer saying, quote, "The team had lots of inspiration during the development of the mode. pulling ideas from various fighting games, battle royale games, all the way to its core, the game of rock, paper, scissors. Dalan, we're getting down with this, right, in a couple weeks? I think it's tomorrow.
This is an RPG with cars. It's no longer soccer with cars, it's RPG with cars. I'm going to let you think about that. Just chew on it.
Luis, let's just move on to that, whatever that was. What are your thoughts on that? We're getting down with this. Right?
Yeah, for sure. I was hoping that it would be more than just like a map without the soccer ball, and it seems like they have added more mechanics than just like ramming into somebody. So that's good. It's
Ooh, actually, now that you say it like that, I'm thinking, what if they actually decide to implement that in other modes? That would be mayhem. That would be straight mayhem.
Yeah, and you know what? I think a lot of these modes too they're kind of, I think they're kind of made to bring in like a casual kind of player, right? I mean, we'll play them, we'll have fun with it, but I remember like when I first like heard about this game, the reason I got into the game, I wanted to play the wacky modes, I wanted to play hockey, I wanted to play the basketball modes and the spike mode or whatever. And then after a while, you learn that it's like standard is kind of where it's at. Like the game is so, I don't know, perfect, man. I think the game is
the
like
basic mechanics of it make it a simple and excellent game.
Yeah, it's perfect. Like I said, Dalan, it's like a perfect like competitive game.
I'm just giving you backup, all right?
Yeah. I don't like it though. I don't like it. But
you know, let me give you. All right, fine. You're wrong, Carlos. You're wrong.
But look, I enjoy the fact this game's been out since 2015, and they just keep updating it, and it does get it kind of sucks that it's like limited. But I think some of these modes you can kind of tap into, right? Even in the options, or no. Sometimes they just go away for good, right?
Yeah.
Like we can't do.
Just remove it.
Yeah, so we'll see.
Oh, gridiron mode! I want some gridiron mode. Give me the grip.
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll definitely be playing it. I'm sure we'll give you guys some updates next week because it is Jonathan. This is your mode. I want to see you out there in the gridiron. Do they call it gridiron, Rocket League? That's just football, Dalan.
That's football.
I'm gonna tell the man that doesn't watch any sports or follow any teams. I'm gonna ask him what sports are.
I know that's football.
Hey, next thing on here, we did mention it earlier. We did preview it a little bit, but so PlayStation Plus, their 3-tiered service, is planning on launching June 13th in the Americas, and I do like that. There was a quote on VGC that they said that Sony is saying that you will quote easily be able to upgrade it. I was thinking like, no shit, why would it not be easy to upgrade? I don't understand. Of course you're gonna make it as easy as possible for people to quote unquote upgrade. So we have a date, right? June 13th. Is it, are you guys what do you think? June 13th. Have we changed our minds? Dalan, have you changed your minds about this thing? Because we all said no, right? We're not upgrading, but I don't know. Is there
no, we didn't actually say no. We said we'd try it just to see what it was like. But then I'm out here thinking, I was reading an article recently talking about how, and it's true, we haven't heard any updates about Final Fantasy VII 2 Remake in almost 2 years. And people over here speculating, well, they might just drop that on the PlayStation tier for people to just be able to play digitally first. And I'm like, well, if that turns out to be the case and they start putting like brand new games digital first only on that PlayStation service, it can give it a good reason to be there. But at the same time, I'd be upset. I mean, I bought myself a disc-based PlayStation, and I want to buy my digital deluxe copy of Final Fantasy VII Remake 2.
There's a lot of speculation. There's a lot of speculation on your end over there, and I gave you enough rope, I feel. If you guys are watching the video, me and Luis quickly said, no, that's not at all. And yes, of course that would sell the service, dude. If they had like I love that game. That was our game of the year, Dalan, our anonymous, not anonymous, unanimous. Those are unanimous game of the year, first year of WeGotComs.com, the not Resident Evil. Help me out here. Final Fantasy VII Remake. So yeah, if they did,
you need help.
So if they did Final Fantasy VII Remake 2, yeah, of course I would upgrade, dude. Of course, day one. But that's not what they said. They've even clearly said we're giving people options. At some point, maybe they're gonna be convinced, right? They twist their arm and the leg to give us some day one releases. But for now, Sony's like, we're giving you options, and we're gonna give you Ragnarok in 2022, which we know from our last little news item. It's not coming out in 2022. Luis, your thoughts on this, man? What are you thinking? June 13th, man. We got a date.
Yeah, well, like you had said, Sony themselves has stated no day one launches already, so I highly doubt it because they weren't being creative with the language either. They just straight up said, no,
Yeah.
that's not happening. Don't expect that.
Yeah.
From what I had said, I said I wouldn't get it until I saw what titles were available, and if enough games catch my 3 to 4 games,
Yeah.
then I'll try out the trial. But actually, I don't even know if it has a trial. Whatever, I'll try it out. If it's a
Yeah.
trial, cool. If not, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah. So as of right now, my opinion is a no. I'm not getting any of these, but I'll take a look at the catalog and see if something catches my eye. So.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll definitely see, and especially because they have like, especially on the PlayStation 3 thing. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but the PlayStation 3 definitely had a nice little catalog of. I think it's I did hear this from Sacred Symbols, the Colin Moriarty podcast. I know he's controversial and all that, but one of the things that he has said is that PlayStation 3 is like when the PlayStation started having an identity, right? Like it started having Uncharted games. It started to have all these games where it's like, oh, this is what PlayStation 3 is, and it got away from the Crash Bandicoots and pretty much all these other brands that Sony was not making themselves, right? So the PlayStation, the only upsetting thing is that it's the cloud based, right? The PlayStation 3 stuff is still cloud based. If it ever becomes like where you can download it to your hardware, maybe that kind of interests me, but it's still like, dude, $120 for that situation. They're kind of walling out. We did mention this a little bit earlier. I don't know if you guys have any more thoughts on this, but we did talk about how Dying Light 2 sold 5 million copies since February, and Dying Light 1 topped 20 million. That's according to Gematsu. Dalan, anything else? Or we kind of broke that down at the top of the show, right? Or
we did delve into that pretty quickly, but the fact of the matter is it's a brand new game, and you would figure that they would step up their game, and they actually added all these extra new mechanics that weren't in the first one, which honestly I don't think worked very well unless you're gonna put in 500 hours for this game. But the numbers kind of match up based on what was created. So unless they really fix up that game and really promote it, I don't think they're going to hit that 20 million units for quite some time.
And they don't have any guns. I mean,
They don't have any guns. They got a bow.
That's weird, right? Like what did I say the whole game while we were playing it? While we were admittedly
when do we get our guns? And you also kept saying, what are we going to do about my legs? But
because I kept falling everywhere. I kept breaking my legs in that game.
But you can get an upgrade to actually mitigate fall damage or have no fall damage. You just didn't do it because you don't like to upgrade your characters while you're playing games.
I gotta die enough times. I gotta see what the boss requires of me. Do I need more health or do I need more damage points? That's when I figure that out. The other thing here, well, the thing is, it's not like I'm like, where do I get my guns and where does that expectation come from? Dying Light 1 had guns. They weren't great, but you did have guns at some point. So they definitely went like, no, this is supposed to be Mirror's Edge. I don't know why we gave you guns in the first place. This is probably what they said. But at that point, it's like, that's not my fault. Next thing. Oh, Luis, what are your thoughts here while I fix my headphones here?
I kind of similar to what I said earlier. I think it was just people heard they marketed the game as having massive amounts of hours of content, which probably drove some people away, and then obviously when it came out, all the bugs, so people didn't buy it. But who knows, maybe after this update with the bug fixes to co-op, maybe they get a few more sales there. But yeah, I don't think it's reaching 20 mil anytime soon.
I mean, and it's 20 million since Dying
like
Light
lifetime sales, right?
Yeah, Dying Light 1 lifetime sales. So it could be doable, and they did update that game pretty regularly, right? So I don't know. I feel like since February, 5 million copies is, March, April, about 2 months almost. So I think it's, we know that games kind of sell the most they're going to sell throughout their lifetime, kind of like right at the beginning, right? It's kind of front loaded that way. But, I feel like if they keep uploading it and they keep getting kind of like good feedback on the fixes they do, possibly. I know for us, it's kind of like we were ready to be done with the game. Anything else, Dan, before we move on from this?
They were just too ambitious. That's what it was.
They were just believing in them. So no guns, though, but very ambitious. So the next thing, we do have a release date for Splatoon 3, finally. That's going to drop September 9th. A quick note for me is that from what I remember, they had said summer before. But what drops in the summer now is Xenoblade Chronicles 3, July 29th. So I think Nintendo did like a little swap. They pushed up Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and now Splatoon 3. They're like, all right, we got them, get them out of the nuclear, what do we call it? The blast radius. And
the blast radius.
We'll put Splatoon 3 September 9th, which I wonder when Modern Warfare comes out. But Modern Warfare is usually like November, right, Lee? So I think their Splatoon 3 is pretty good. But yeah, we finally got a release date, September 9th for Splatoon 3. I'm kind of hyped. I got to bust out my Wii U at some point to play through 1 and 2 because my brain is broken like that, right? I have to play through 1 and 2. And
wait, did they not get re-released on the Switch at any point?
Well, 2 came out for the Switch, I believe. I think 2 is Switch, but 1 has not been re-released and it hasn't released, and they haven't talked about releasing it. So I hope my Wii U is still working because I did move since that time that I had the Wii U. And it might have fallen a couple times, that box. But we're gonna
you
find
dropped
out.
the console. You actually made me. I know this is definitely separate from the conversation itself, but you made me think. Whatever happened to that one boxing game that came out for the Switch? The one with the girl that had the stretchy arms and whatnot. Like
that's what it was called.
The game with the girl with the stretchy arms.
Oh yeah, it's called Arms. It actually is called Arms.
Oh, it's actually called Arms.
That was a decent
Whatever
game.
happened to that? Like it came up. It was like Ready to Rumble, but worse.
Yeah. No, it was decent. It was stretchy arms, dude. It's definitely like early when a console launch, right? Like a hardware launch. It was definitely got a bunch of those early hardware launch type of games to keep us busy. It wasn't too bad, but yeah, I mean, we'll see. We might see a sequel to that. I think they get kind of.
It very much fell to the wayside.
Luis, your thoughts, man, on some Splatoon 3 action? Are you a fan?
Yeah, I loved the second one. I played it. It was like my main game when I got my Switch first. It was that and Legend of Zelda. So
Breath of the Wild.
I'm excited because this will give me a reason finally to get Nintendo Switch Online again. The basic version, basic bitch version. I'm not trying to pay a bunch of money for a quality of life couch in my Animal Crossing game or whatever. So yeah, so I'm excited for Splatoon 3.
Now they did say that the expansion for Splatoon 3, if you have the expansion pack for Nintendo Online, you'll have the season pass for Splatoon, or you'll have that, whatever the first DLC is, right? Is that what they were talking about? Or that still wouldn't convince you? You just will buy the DLC straight out?
I probably won't even buy the DLC. I don't really, for Splatoon, I don't need to be getting all the season pass shirts and bullshit or whatever. Gotcha. It's a shooting game. So
how about this? We're gonna play co-op, right? I'll get down with.
If it has it, I don't
know.
It
does. Well, it has campaign.
Well, I guess I meant specifically campaign, yeah, because 2 didn't until they released the DLC years later, and it was like $40, I think, for the campaign for that.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm down for some salmon run, or if they got co-op, we'll do that.
And Luis, you are always invited into our sessions, me and Dalan, of either whether we're playing Outriders or whatever else we would be playing. Dalan, you're not welcome on this one. You're not invited to the Splatoon 3 co-op game.
Keep your Splatoon. I do not care.
It reminds me of Jet Grind Radio, but I gotta play it to actually.
I hated the controls for that game. Well,
look, in the next couple of months, I'll be playing it to kind of ratchet up to kind of ramp up to Splatoon 3's launch. The next thing on here is we got an interesting story how Rockstar got Dr. Dre into GTA Online. He initially thought it was for kids, but DJ Pooh kind of gave him a bit of a demo. BET.com did interview DJ Pooh about it, and he said, quote, "Initially it was just no. But the answer was initially no, because Dre's not a gamer. He just didn't play any of the games. It's not like he dislikes them or something. He just didn't play them. He was like, I don't make things for kids." And then he continues saying he was blown away because he showed him kind of a personal demo to Dr. Dre. He was blown away. He didn't know you could do all this stuff, all the layers of gameplay, and that people are calling the metaverse, but it's doper than that. He was like, this shit is awesome. And he's seeing me driving around in a lowrider. We out here putting different rims on the car, getting in a shootout, hanging out with my friends. I got a girlfriend, all that. Which is like, Dre, man, where you been since like GTA 3, man? What's going on here? This is like 2001 era stuff. I don't know. I think his music's been in the game before, right, Luis? Or at least Dre produced stuff, right? So it's kind of weird that
Yeah.
they're talking about like getting him in the game because he actually is in the game. I don't know if they probably got him to do a little mocap action too, right? And he actually even put exclusive tracks for the game. So it's kind of interesting that he's like, he's not a gamer. I don't do things for kid. I forget what he said. I forgot what label DJ Pooh mentioned, but I guess one of the things that also convinced Dre was that I was like, oh, this is Rockstar, man. This is quality. Like he kind of had to convince him that this is a quality developer, right? And he's like, oh yeah, like back in the day we had labels for rap or you know, hip hop, and you knew it was quality. This is Rockstar, and you know, it's good. It was a little good piece of like DLC, right? It even got me into GTA Online for a little bit. Also, Dalan, put the camera on me. Stop logging in just for the contract, the DLC, just for that, but otherwise log off. Luis,
is his name really DJ Pooh?
His name is really
Yes.
spelled like Winnie the Pooh, just so you guys are aware. P-O-O-H, so not Pooh.
That does
P-O-O.
not help his case.
I feel like it does, because you would think it's like Pooh like Pooh.
Well, he's got a radio station in the game,
Yeah, he
playing
does.
all of Dr. Dre's tracks and produced tracks in there. And I'm glad that he managed to convince them, because it is one of the funner DLCs that was added to the game. So, and they're gonna use that mechanic as the agency to then add more content in through that in the game. So adding more quote unquote clients, like Dr. Dre was one of your customers. You know,
Yeah.
you had to help him out.
Oh, so
Hey, you guys
yeah,
ready?
so-
Snoop Dogg is next. He's gonna show up.
He's already in the game.
He's already in the game.
The
there.
song, at least.
I mean him.
So we'll see more contract stuff, right? Well, I mean, it's not gonna be like necessarily expanding on the story, right? Because the story is really like 2 or 3 missions, 4 maybe, right?
No,
But
it's like 12.
Is it? But the
Yeah.
see, I'm not counting the contracts. So, well, I mean, you can because you kind of get to the story bits with the contract.
No, I'm not counting those
You're
either.
not counting those yet? Okay, because I thought it was pretty short. But regardless, it's pretty cool to see. I still think it kind of sucks that you have to go through the online kind of experience of it instead of kind of being thrown in as a solo type of game. But I understand, dude. GTA
I mean,
Online
you could play it
is
solo offline if you wanted to, like not in the public lobby. So
yeah, but it's still
That's
kind of
the
fed to you through kind of like the online world, right? It's not like you know. I just don't like. I just don't like. Where's our GTA 6? That's all I'm trying to say here, Luis.
that's what I was
Where's
trying
our-
to get at. You
where's-
don't care about that.
I don't. I need them to stop and just go to GTA 6 already. But they're about to fucking release, or they already did the next gen stuff, right? So it's it's very upsetting. Stop logging into that. Next thing we have on here, this one's also for you, Luis. We got some Skate 4 pre-alpha footage. Some of the cool stuff that we've got. So this is kind of like, this game I think is probably a year or two away, right? Or maybe next year, maybe late 2023. But there's some pre-alpha footage that leaked out there. According to Jeff Grubb from VentureBeat, he says they're still trying to get the feel right. But one of the things that he kind of found out, or VGC kind of points out, VGC.com or .net, they said that there's going to be an online free skate mode, and users can hang out and build skate parks together. And apparently that's supposed to be kind of a real-time thing where you're hanging out online and you can kind of build these kind of sets, these skateboarding sets. What are your thoughts on this, Luis? Were you a fan of the skate franchise? Are you glad that it's kind of coming back here?
Yeah. I remember when it first came out. Dude, I even think it was a demo. Like before I got the game, I was just nonstop playing and they had like a timer. You could only play for like 10 minutes max or something. So I would have to keep restarting the demo and kind of quickly do the tutorial. But I was hooked, man. I
Which
was
one?
hooked on
Which
Skate
one?
Pretty sure it was Skate, the first one, just Skate.
Okay, got you. Yeah, because it was
So-
like you're coming off of like Tony Hawk, right? Tony Hawk was it was fun. I loved it. It's one of my favorite games of all time. Was it on my top 5 games of the year? Possibly, I think. I gotta remember. I gotta go back. But Tony Hawk is definitely like, to me, it's like one of the best games of all time. But it is arcadey, right? And Skate was kind of more giving you a little bit more of a realistic feel, as realistic as you could be on an analog sticks, to be honest, right? It's kind of, you're still on analog sticks, but they were trying to give you the feel of, well, you're not doing crazy shit over here. You're doing an ollie is a challenge unto itself, like learning how to ollie, right? As it is in real life. Have you guys ever tried? I've tried a couple times and it's rough out there. Anything else, Luis, or you're just kind of waiting for some more
No, yeah,
details
just
on
that.
this?
I mean, there's a difference. It's, Tony Hawk versus Skate. They're two completely different games, but they're both on a skateboard. So, and I always sort of did prefer Skate just because it was more challenging for me. But yeah. That's it.
It's kind of like how we had like SSX, right, or SSX Tricky, and then we had kind of like the Microsoft one where it's like Amped or something like that, where it was just a little different, right? It's a different vibe, so it's cool to see that, right? It's cool to see that some games are just gonna be super arcadey and some are a little more realistic. Dalan, I did task you with something for this next story. I did task you to look at Ghostbusters VR. That got announced for MetaQuest VR, no longer Facebook Quest or whatever they were calling Oculus Quest,
Oculus.
right? MetaQuest VR as their gaming showcase. They also showed that they were adding kind of mercenaries mode to Resident Evil and all that. But Ghostbusters VR, Dalan, what did you think, man? So checked out the trailer for this, right?
Ghostbustersvr.com. That immediately stood out to me. But that is the official site for it, which made me laugh. But it did look slightly cartoonish, and I guess it's not really like a full-blown... I don't want to say it's not a full-blown game, but at the same time it isn't. Simply because it's one of those games where you really need to play it with friends. It's probably not going to be fun playing it by yourself. And it reminded me of a game, I can't remember what it was called, but it was another VR game where you had a bunch of friends going into like a horror house and trying to actually find a ghost before it like killed everybody. And you had to like find the key to a specific box. It was a weird thing. But that's what this Ghostbusters VR is. You got a bunch of friends dressed up in different Ghostbusters outfits and customizations they could have because one of them had a wolf mask on. And you're just going into like scary places trying to catch ghosts. That's the whole game. That is the whole concept. And in reality, that's all we need.
Are you thinking Luigi's Mansion, maybe? Luigi's Mansion?
No. It was like something Phantasm or something like that. It was a really detailed, scary game that would actually give jump scares. But no, in this game is more like Luigi's Mansion than the one that I just mentioned. So thank you for that closer one.
Which is kind of what we need, right? I mean, Ghostbusters not necessarily to be taken that seriously, right? It's supposed to be kind of a fun.
Why not? It's Ghostbusters. However,
you take any lore seriously, Dalan, but you know, I don't.
In this case, they just wanted to make it fun for you to play with your friends, and this definitely seems like that type of game. And if it comes out on PSVR at any point, I'm down to try it with you.
Well, I was gonna tell you actually. So this is for Meta Quest. You don't have a Quest. Would this convince you to get a Quest or no?
There's a lot of games that convince me to get a Quest. Beat Saber Modified alone convinces me to get a Quest. My problem is not, do I want a Quest? The question is, can I afford it?
You can, Dylan. If you believe in yourself, and then if you believe in that credit card that's in your wallet, you're gonna afford a lot of
just
things.
believe.
Hope you got a new credit card.
I'm actually gonna put this on wax right now. Is that last week I went to Yoshinoya because I love me some Yoshinoya with the homie Oscar, and we left, and I went straight home, and I lost my wallet. However,
this was on wax previously, right?
Yes, this was on wax previously. So that was a recap. This is an update.
Okay.
A few days ago, I think it was Saturday, as a matter of fact, I went to the post office just to check the mail, and I got a random box in the mail. Somebody mailed me back my wallet with everything in it.
Okay.
Social security and everything.
Yes, everything. Somebody with it. There are still good people left in the world. They paid $9.45 to send it to me priority mail and no return address. So I was like, man, I can't even thank them.
I was about to say the return address probably says the metaverse, right? So you get your metaverse.
Snaps. But I feel bad that I can't thank this person. So whoever's out there listening, if you're the one that sent me my wallet back, thank God for people like you.
They're going to be the ones liking and subscribing and leaving a comment. It was me. I guess so. So
I'm fine with that. If you want to like and subscribe, feel free. Leave a comment.
Right from the metaverse, they send you your wallet. Next thing we have on here, this one's just for me, so I'll try to keep it quick. This is kind of interesting news for me that Nintendo didn't want an open world Metroid Prime 3. Because they didn't know what a bounty hunter was. Apparently, there's a developer. He was talking to Did You Know Gaming. I didn't get his name. I'm sorry. He's probably from Retro Studios, I'm assuming. But he said, quote, "We were not proposing in any way, shape, or form, even in our wildest dreams, that we would have like Metroid Prime Skyrim. We were not talking about 200-hour side quests or anything like that." More precisely, it was the ability for the player to operate out of a hub area and go to different missions that didn't necessarily lend themselves directly to the normal path progression that a Metroid Prime game was known for, as far as traversal, retroversal, and so forth. Samus had the ability to step outside of that and do more things on the side. Apparently, according to Nintendo, Bounty Hunter, how they described Samus Aran was very altruistic and motherly. And I don't know if you guys played Metroid Prime Other M, but it was definitely extra wacky with the motherly thing. It was very, I think, who was involved in that? Was it Konami or Namco, or who was?
It was Ninja Theory.
Yeah, wow, that was a mess, dude. But it did exist. Metroid Other M did exist, and it was kind of an interesting take. I was like, why did they do that? But whatever. So it turns out, Nintendo didn't really know what a bounty hunter was, despite describing Samus as that since the first game in 1986. Despite
watching Star Wars, they never know who Boba Fett is. What?
Well, instead they saw her as a space adventurer with the heart of gold, which didn't fit with the open world bounty hunting concept. And that's like a paragraph out of Eurogamer, so you guys can check out the rest of the article over there. To me, the only thing is I'm okay with what Metroid Prime is such a tightly woven type of game that it is. I hadn't heard that before, that they called it retroversal, but it makes sense. You're gaining new abilities, very much Batman Arkham Asylum, right, Dalan? That's why I love that game so much. It was basically Metroid Prime, right? It was basically
Mega Man but 3D.
So if you guys know, if you guys don't know, Batman Arkham Asylum is basically a Metroid Prime, and also Doom 2016 is basically kind of a Metroid Prime, where you're doing traversal, retroversal, and the like. But I do like that they went with this. I do like that Nintendo, just based on the mere fact that they were confused, they were like, we're not doing that. We're not making an open world game, and I like that, because the game really is getting new abilities, going back and kind of unlocking things, and Metroid Prime is so good, man. Can we get a remaster, please, or something? I will buy it day one. And I don't care, Dalan. I don't care if they put ads in the billboards. I don't care if they put ads in the billboards. I will buy it again. All right. Next thing on here that kind of got the fans a little riled up, and I hope you guys were able to look at this Matrix, at this so Sonic Origins. I don't know if we talked about it before. Or
no, we didn't.
No,
right?
We
didn't talk about it.
So on Sonic Origins, it kind of just came out of nowhere, right? Sonic Origins is coming out June 23rd. And it's been confirmed that it locks a bunch of modes, character animations behind DLC. That's according to VGC. The fans are not happy. That's according to IGN. So Sonic Origins, it's going to include Sonic 1, CD, 2, 3, and Knuckles. So it's kind of including all the kind of older 2D Sonics, right? And Sonic CD is apparently the best one, right, out of all of them. I don't know if you guys agree or not with that, but anything you saw in this kind of little chart, Dalan? I know anything. Why are the fans mad? Can you give me a glimpse as to why the fans would be mad, maybe?
Just based on the chart that we were looking at, I'm like, why is it that you get a higher tier game but less stuff in it? There was even that one, what was it, the classic music pack, and all you get was additional musical tracks, and it doesn't even say that you get the main game.
Okay, reasonable. Okay. Yeah, that's yeah.
But I do believe that when it does release, it is a matter of being able to get just the base games and being able to add these additional packs with it, and it just doesn't come out that way, the way that they listed this whole grid that they have going on. And it's a terrible looking grid. These rings are all over the place.
Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't get the source for it, but it's either, I'm sure, IGN or VGC. VGC is nice. Go visit VGC. I respect those guys over there. Someone put up this, basically it includes this, it doesn't include that. Are we, Luis, what your thoughts, man? I guess for grid or otherwise, I guess, on Sonic Origins, man.
I mean, dude, I thought we were past the wackiest we had seen up to this point was Horizon Forbidden West, that whole 8 or 6 different upgrade versions that were kind of all over the place. This right now, I think, takes the cake because there is something like Dalan mentioned. There's one that literally is just the music. If you just want the music pack for some reason, and only one version, only one of these versions has the letterbox background. If you really wanted that, I guess. Oh no, it's two of them. Never mind, but not the digital deluxe edition. It's the one of the other two. So it's like, and then there's one that unlocks just like extra animations on the main menu screen, if that's kind of your thing, I guess. So
well, the one thing that they actually did tout for this game, just talking about the standard game itself, is that the fact that, yes, it comes with all these games, and they actually included a bunch of the animated like shorts that were on YouTube for a period of time, like the web series thing that came out before Sonic Mania or with Sonic Mania. And apparently there's going to be extra scenes that actually come with this. And you can actually play with Tails, Sonic, or Knuckles in almost all the games, which you definitely couldn't do that originally in Sonic 1 or Sonic 2 because you didn't have Knuckles at the time. But in this one, they're just like, you know what? We're just going to give you free range of all three characters if you can earn them.
Yeah, this is, kind of look at this. This is so wacky, dude. Like, they got the standard edition main game. That's a plus. It's got the main game. And it's got them, and then some of this is like coming soon, blah, blah, blah. It's, yeah, it's extra stupid, man.
They need to figure out what they're doing with this.
Okay, besides the wackiness, and like Luis, I agree with you, man.
That's why I stopped.
It's so dumb. Are we grabbing this? I might be interested, to be honest. And I'm going for the option one, just main game. I don't know what the hell this other crap is that's going on over here.
You want under 300 extra coins? Because apparently there's in-app purchases.
It's so stupid. But maybe. I don't know if the price is right. Dalan?
Hey, man, they updated the game to try and make it smoother. They made it widescreen. They gave you extra characters.
No, that's only
more
if you
movie.
get certain editions.
True.
You gotta get certain editions.
No. In the standard edition, you can actually have the three characters.
Which one would you get? Do you get the standard, or you go for?
I'm sticking with the standard. Okay. Why? I don't
Luis,
care about harder modes. Just let me play the game. That's it.
Luis,
let me play it as intended.
Luis, what about you, man? No?
Look, I mean, I love the original Sonic games as much as anybody else, but I don't need to go back and play those. So this is a pass for me, man.
This is for people that didn't actually who hears about the hype but never touched any of the original games. This is a good way to be able to jump into that series. But if you played the original games on previous, it is
different versions too.
I mean, just buy the basic version, just buy standard. You're fine. You got all these versions for nothing. I don't care. I bet you that music pack's got like 4 songs in it, and they got like 20 actual levels. But you know what? They're not going to give you all those songs. They're just going to give you 4 songs. I bought other games where it says that it comes with the soundtrack. You get 3 songs. You got a 27 song list, and you get 3.
This really set Dalan off, which I appreciate, Dalan. But we're gonna move on here.
That's fine.
You know, yeah, it comes down to save states and trophies. That's really what it comes down to, and I might check it out. Next thing on here is so there's an Elden Ring tutorial. It used to be missable, and I know this because I completely missed it. There's like an elevator like right at the beginning of the game that you go up. I think you go up or down, whatever. I think you go down or up. I don't know, whatever it is. But I go through that elevator. I go through that elevator process, and I completely said, I'm going this way. And I'm in the open world. So it's completely missable. I only know it exists because at some point I was like traversing back, or what did Metroid guy say? Retroversal. I retroversed to the beginning, and I was like, what the hell is this? And I was like, these are not hard enemies at all, but they're teaching me basic shit. So the Elden Ring developers are like, all right, enough of that shit, and now it's unmissable. Or they've updated the game to where the tutorial is unmissable, which I Luis, help me out, man. You as a developer, like, is it a big, people try to skip tutorials all the time or whatever, but you kind of want them to go through the tutorial, right? What do you think?
Give us the option.
What are your thoughts on this, I guess?
Well, I mean, it all comes down to, and there's every single day I go into Twitter, there's some discussion about how Elden Ring has terrible UX and game design. And this is case in point right here. You're not alone here. There's many people out there that are like, yeah, I found the tutorial 20 hours into my playthrough. Like, so
now you tell me. Yeah. About this crap. Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's just them. I guess at the very least for this, they're like, okay, well, at least make this some good design here. You can play the tutorial at the very beginning, like it's supposed to be, and then the rest will still leave wacky.
Oh man, you make it sound terrible for the rest of the game. You said make at least this good design. The rest, you can have the crappiest design you want. We know you did, so you can leave that. But
No,
let us have the tutorial.
That's the discussion on the internet.
Well, that's it. See, so that's the thing. That's the thing with this game. A lot of the stuff I learned was because like, oh, that's part of the game. I have to Google this shit. And so a lot of the stuff I'm Googling, but then I retroverse to this tutorial area, and I'm like, what the fuck, man? I could have used this information, and like I didn't know it. I was Googling it because I thought that's what the game was about. Like you have to Google crap, or you gotta talk to your friends or whatever. But we'll let you close that one out, Luis. Anything else before we kind of get to the next thing?
No, that's it.
Yeah, at least let's do this good, right? Let's get this under control. Next one is just for me, I guess, because I'm a big Jet Grind Radio, Crazy Attack, basically Dreamcast fan. I really look that what is it? Help me out here, Dalan. That candle lit bright but flew out quickly. Is that the white person phrase? What's the phrase here, Dalan?
I have no idea what you were shooting for.
It was around for about a year and a half. How about that? And in that year and a half, it created beautiful games. The Shenmue games, the Crazy Taxi games, and Jet Grind Radio. They don't necessarily hold up, to be honest, but it was a nice era of Dreamcast games that we got back to back. So Sega, this is according to Bloomberg, but they've talked about it before that they're working on a quote-unquote super game. I don't know how super game turns into plural amounts of games, but there's apparently a Crazy Taxi reboot that has been in development for more than a year, and it could be released by 2025 at the latest. I'm thinking like, what the fuck? We're not gonna get this till 2025, but we'll see. At least Sega's working on this thing. This has been kind of hype, man. I really enjoy Jet Grind Radio. Crazy Taxi is cool, but it's super arcadey if you guys ever played that. But I'm pretty hyped about that. We'll move on to what you've been playing. Luis, we'll go with you first, man. I know you got a little note here, so we won't spoil it for the good people. But what's going on here, man? What you been playing?
So the last time I mentioned I was playing Pokemon Legends Arceus, I remember saying, I think I'm close to the end of the game. I'm at the final boss, whatever. Nope. All of a sudden, I go in there this past week and I'm like, you know what? Finally, I'm gonna pick up my Switch, played in bed, got through the whole thing. I guess I technically did had to. I went in for the mission and I was a few levels lower than what I needed to all my Pokemon to be. So I went for a little grindy session, got them all up to par, up to snuff. And I was like, all right, let's finish this. Go in there, beat that boss, and then all of a sudden it feels like I'm halfway through the game. Like the way that they spelled it out for me, I'm like, oh shit, like I'm not even close. Like I still have a lot to go. So we'll see, man. Because after that, I have to wait for a little bit, and I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna come back to this one later. I'm gonna get some GTA Online in.
They basically said you thought you were done. Hey, Chrono Trigger got me like that, dude. I don't know if you remember, like 3 weeks ago, I was on this podcast. I was like, oh, I'm at the end. It's like, nope, you're gonna go grind out for like 4 or 5 hours before you beat this boss.
You gotta bring them back. You're not done.
But see, Dalan, like. He thinks of these things like a pro. Well, I don't know how you feel about the Legends Arceus thing, Luis. To me, I think it's bullshit. Dalan is like, that's a perk. That's a key component of that type of game.
I mean, at least I don't have to replay it 3 times like Nier Automata or whatever, you know? So there's
Nier Automata, they did it right.
Dalan,
I'm sorry, they did that right.
Defend these developers, please. First of all, on Chrono Trigger, they had to grind out 4 hours, and then now Luis turns out he's only halfway through the game.
It's the only way I could defend it is if the second half was like this surprisingly excellent addition to what you had just did. Even though it might have taken a while to actually do what you did, or at least it feels like forever, then suddenly the rest of the game feels smooth and fun, and you're like, I want to get this done and I want to see what happens. Did you feel that way when you hit the second half of Arceus?
I can't say that I did.
Well, see, then they did it wrong. I'll tell you what. There was a game that did that to me. It was Okami. When I was playing Okami, Yeah, Okami, it was fun to begin with the nice slashing of the paint and getting into all these weird fights. And the whole time I'm trying to go out there and go, I can't remember his name, was like Shishomaru or something. We're out there, we're helping him try and kill the 8-headed dragon or whatever it is. And I finally got to that point where we could. Are you confused by this?
Continue, man.
Is that spoilers? Hey, man, it's been years since that game came out. If you haven't played it by now, it's too late. But you get to that point where you actually, you think you're done with the game, but no, there's way more story and a whole bunch more lore that you just want to actually know about because of the way that they rolled out that game.
Okami was cool. Problem with Okami, you could not skip the text, dude.
You
died at a boss. You were stuck reading.
You gotta go through that text again. You got that little bug talking to you. You're like, oh,
there was no fasting it either. You couldn't speed up the text. You couldn't skip the text. You couldn't speed up the text. You sat through that shit, dude, and it was like 5 minutes before you could get back to the boss. Okami was kind of nice though.
But it's one of those games you get through it where you're just like, all right, that was irritating, but the rest of the game just made it worth it.
You know what a good feeling would be? What a good thing would be is like you're reaching the kind of the climax of the game. You're like, all right, it's gonna get there. It's gonna be nice. I'm going against the boss. If it actually finished right there, Dylan, that would feel great. That would feel great. That would feel great. It's like, oh, I'm going towards the end, and it's gonna feel great. Luis, anything else on that, or you just kind of like you just need to get back to that at some point?
I mean, I'll definitely go beat it, but it was just that like they were setting it up like this game's over, by the way, and so that's why I put it down to kind of give it a little bit more shelf life in my routine. And then
but now it has way more shelf life than you wanted.
So yeah, it was just that the fact that I was expecting to finish the game and I was like, let's get it. I was ready, and no, they just pulled the rug.
It's kind of whack, man. It's kind of whack. It makes you like step away for a moment. What didn't feel like that then? We'll talk about a game we both played real quick, and then we'll get to, I guess, like 20 million games, Dalan, that you better give us some synopsis around here.
I will.
But Dalan, Streets of Rage 4 is leaving Game Pass, and that kind of is a good way to force you to play something. But Streets of Rage 4, I think it's leaving in the next week or so. So if you guys want to play that, make sure to kind of get that out the way. It really
buy it.
I mean, it's on Game Pass. Get it before it leaves Game Pass. We beat it in one sitting. Me and Dalan beat it in one sitting, and we were cutting it close. At some point, we thought you only get one continue. Right? So I was like,
no, that was you.
So I was like, Dalan, do not die. And we kind of were like, there was a couple times where you left me all alone, Dalan, like just fighting the boss, and like with the sliver of hell, I was like, damn it, why did you die? And there's a couple.
Yeah, but that's only because I'm still getting first place because you're not helping me through the level. I'm about to die. All right, I need the big piece of chicken or whatever it is that we changed it to. You had the bowl of ramen. I needed whatever it was, the ham. Needed a hamburger. I needed it. And you'd be like, all right, Dalan, go get it. And the next thing I see you doing is picking up the food. And I'm dying over here. You with full health. I'm like, you already have full health. Why did you pick it up?
Let me tell you what didn't help is you picking up grenades and just chucking them randomly. At some point, I was like, damn, you're playing a dangerous game. You're playing a dangerous game over here throwing fucking grenades all over the place.
You didn't get hurt. I killed the guy that was next to you. It worked out.
So Streets of Rage 4 is a sequel to 1, 2, and 3, as the name would imply. I don't know if you played the originals. I did recently. Actually, I was thinking to the lead up to Streets of Rage 4 because my brain is broken. We've gone over this. I played 1, 2, and 3. Emulated versions with save states, but I did get through those real quick.
They weren't that long, Carlos.
They weren't that long, dude, but those games definitely, if you died, you start from the very beginning, dude, and I was not doing that at all. So I save stated my way through 1, 2, and 3 in relatively short order, probably like over a course of a week or two, maybe 3 weeks. But I'm glad I was able to kind of play through this and co-op with you, Dan, even though you kind of pissed me off a couple times. But it gives you, every time we play these co-op games, it gives you an insight, right, into like, me and you, we didn't grow up playing video games together, right, Dylan? We kind of know each other.
No, we did not.
So the whole time we were playing, I was like, Dalan, fuck, how did you play with people when you were a kid? How did you play these games? Because you're just chucking grenades all willy-nilly. You're taking a piece of chicken. And what you were referring to, Dalan, so you can actually change the items. It used to be just, you couldn't change it, right? It was chicken.
It used to be like a piece of ham and something else.
But so in this one, Streets of Rage 4, it actually gives you the option of like you could change it to like 4 or 5 different items. So I picked one of them was a big piece of ramen, a big ramen bowl, and for my smaller item, instead of an apple, it was some caviar, just a little caviar that I would randomly pick up on the streets. But it was nice.
I had some folded rice and a bucket of chicken. I was like, get off my bucket of chicken.
So it was fun, man. It was fun. We played through it in one sitting. So it's definitely one of those, like, look, it's on Game Pass. If you haven't tried it out, like Dalan was saying, it's probably worth picking up. And I'm sure it might be $20-25. But look, if you have Game Pass, the reason you have Game Pass, go ahead and try it out with the buddy. It has 2-player online co-op available, and make sure to check it out before it leaves Game Pass. I think it's leaving this next week or so.
I am gonna hit it up real quick, simply because 2 things that we immediately noticed about the game as we were going through it is, why didn't they have voice acting? This game could have very much been voice acted the whole way through. Yeah. Second, they got really lazy with their art. They got so lazy with their art.
It is real fuzzy looking out there.
They were like, all right, here's the concept art for the story. They were like, you know what? We don't need to buff this up. Like, why not? It looks fine. Let's go ahead and throw the concept art in it. Put some color on it. It's good.
Yeah, there's definitely... The gameplay itself is nice, though. The gameplay itself, the graphics are nice. We even went through some of the achievements, right? The easier ones that... And you saw... Actually, you got to see some of my trophy philosophy, Dalan. What was achievements, right? That I was like, these are things that I would never do, right? But let's go shock this machine and go into a classic level. Let's do different little things. So as long as... To me, that's my philosophy, is as long as the achievements and trophies are fun and they kind of show you something new, I'm gonna try to grab those, right? But we gave up on the other ones because some of those were asking for too much.
They were way too much. I'm not trying to unlock every alternate move with all the characters. I'm not trying to do all that.
It's pretty fun. It's a fun little game. It takes a little bit to kind of get used to. You can't run, or only one of the characters can run, right? So you kind of feel like you're not really running that fast, but the combinations are cool. And after we beat the game, we're like, wait, you could have done this and this and that. So we found out different combinations. So make sure you play around with that.
No, you found that out late. I was like, Carlos, I've been doing this the whole time. Could have saved your life.
I saved us a couple of bosses, Dalan.
Yes, you did.
The very end. What else you been playing, Dalan? Let's get a couple little synopsis here, though, Dalan.
Well, this past week, my work computer ended up the battery decided to engulf itself, and I could not work. So I had to wait for a new laptop in the mail. While I was doing that, I ended up beating Tunic. So I know I talked about this during previous episodes, but this game is fun. This game is very fun. Unlike Elden Ring, where you're supposed to do the tutorial and you didn't need to go on Google to actually find stuff out. This game, you might have to go on Google a couple of times because the booklet never gets translated. In order to actually really beat the game, you have to
spoilers.
Hey, you got to find every page. You don't have to find every page. I just advise that you do so. There's a whole bunch of secrets in that game. And when I say there's a whole bunch of secrets, I mean that there's such intricate details in this game that makes you actually zoom in on these pages and you're like, what? I did not notice that at all. This would have helped me a long time ago.
Yeah, what's a game time? What's your game time with Tunic? I mean, what's
Tunic?
Don't worry about that. What's the game time? What's the gameplay?
I'd say 8 to 10 hours.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Honestly, it was not long.
But it is a little challenging, though, right? Like you will die a few times at the bosses and some of the enemies. Right?
Quite honestly, it'll be the bosses that kill you. Okay. Other than that, you're really figuring out the enemies really quickly. By that point, you'll have found a couple of the pages that actually give you a few good tips on how to really beat these enemies and how to get to the next point.
So are the bosses you have to be leveled enough, or it really is just knowing the strategy to beat them?
It's really knowing the strategy to beat them.
I like that.
One of them, you better be leveled enough, but the rest of them is like really just knowing the strategy to beat them. Honestly, you could beat this entire game without leveling yourself up once, but you're just going to make it hard for yourself.
And that's also, look, while you guys are playing Streets of Rage 4, go in and load up Tunic/Sunic, right? What else, Dalan?
Hey, I strongly advise that even though people were calling it a Zelda cookie cutter, I wholeheartedly disagree. It had its top-down movement.
What internet are you on, Dalan? That's
that
my question right now. Because
that was through VGC, good sir.
Ooh, VGC, we respect. Like Bloomberg, they're not quite up there with Bloomberg. VGC, we respect. I don't know. I think it was getting some high praise, dude. I don't remember anyone saying.
No, it was like split 50-50. There were people that played it for like 5 minutes, hated it, and was mad about how difficult it got, and the other half were like, "All right, I'm going through this entire game. This game was excellent and fun." Yeah, so I do advise playing it.
Yeah, I still wonder what part of the internet you're on. But what's the next thing you play, Dalan?
Another game that I actually got a chance to play, and I've been wanting to play it, and it's also on Game Pass, is World War Z. Honestly, to me, it's Left 4 Dead, but better.
How dare you?
You just the levels, you can actually tell what's going on. You actually know what you're doing next. You actually get to swap out your weapons. You get to kill a whole bunch of zombies. You're not really worried about getting caught or not, and you still get bosses.
Dalan, this is on Game Pass, right?
This is on Game Pass.
Okay, I'll download it. We'll come back to this next week, man, because I feel like you're BSing over here, and we'll have a nice little discussion.
Hey, man, Luis, I say you also try it if you got the chance, because you can download on the PC as well.
Luis is playing GTA.
He's
online,
looking up.
Dude.
He's like, what is happening?
No, Luis is, I keep telling him to stop logging into GTA, but he don't care. He's on GTA Online. All right, he don't got time.
Well, if you have the time to grace us with your presence in a video game, come play World War Z with us.
What else, Dalan? What else you been playing out here?
I actually just loaded it up today, and I know we briefly talked about it at some point earlier. But Guardians of the Galaxy, it's got its breath of new life on Game Pass, and I took advantage of that. And this game is actually a little bit smoother than I took it for when I saw the trailers for it. So the game so far is actually pretty fun, but I didn't get too far in it. The banter is what really makes the game good. Yeah. You get to listen to these guys talk to each other. You got to make these decisions pretty much on the fly, and it's definitely a pretty good little fun game. It's actually more action packed than RPG than based on what other people have said.
Well, I think it's also Yuli's, but I definitely have that thing in plastic somewhere, so I gotta like open it up at some point.
Hey, you don't have to open it up. It's on Game Pass. Just download.
Yeah, but I think I got the PlayStation version. I want some trophies, man. I'd rather get some
all right, that's up to you. Then the last game.
What else?
Yes, it is very good. Then the last game that I actually got into was Scarlet Nexus. And I know that this game dropped very recently, and I was actually super surprised of how into this game I got. It's very Persona-esque. And Nicole got upset because they got lazy with the name of the enemies. They just called them others. So you just be out in the middle of the street and they're like, the others are coming. Like, what?
It's the others, man. I mean, you got to murder.
They're the others. But it honestly is. It's a little Persona game in between missions. You're in like a safe zone where you're actually trying to talk to other people and you're trying to get your affinity up with these people. But those parts are very short and nice little pieces of story. But other than that, it's just action packed type of game, little bit of Devil May Cry. Though. At some point, I rode a bus through a whole bunch of enemies.
All right, not the Canada bus, right? Not the
Death Canada or whatever, Death on the Road of Canada or something like that. Death Road to Canada, not like that. This is. You use you have like psychokinesis powers, and I jumped on a bus and made it move forward at a high rate of speed and just ran through a bunch of enemies. And that was very refreshing. I threw a train at some people. I threw a whole construction site down on some monsters. Yeah, the game is honestly violent
game. It's an action type game or it's an RPG. I thought it was more of an RPG, but it's not.
It is more of an action game. Okay. You do have a skill tree, but it's more of an action game. Think more like what was it, Jedi? The Jedi game.
Yeah,
I can't remember the name of that whole game for some reason right now. Fallen Jedi Order.
I think like
hard,
that. Though. Is this hard too?
No, it's not hard.
Okay. Got you. Scarlet Nexus. There you go. This is all on Game Pass, man. You've been getting your.
This is all on Game Pass. I've been getting
money's worth. Yeah, you will never shut Game Pass down, man. Aren't you glad you got an Xbox and you were able to help them beat their score, their previous scores in units and money sales? You finally got a speaker, like DJ Khaled calls the Xbox Series S. You finally got your speaker, and you're getting a lot out of it. So that's it for Salient Points number 66. Last quick thing, man, for the singer of this team this week. This past week, I don't know if you guys been on the internet too much, but this whole past week, all these shows are coming out talking about it costs this much per episode, that much per episode. And we did have a couple things that, like, last week it was about Stranger Things, that every episode it cost about $30 million. And then, like, yesterday or two, I think it was today or yesterday, a couple days ago, the Amazon was like, no, wait, hold on. Rings of Power actually cost us $57 million an episode. I don't think these guys will ever get their money's worth, man. I don't. It's interesting. Have you guys been following this kind of stuff where it's like I don't know if it seems like they're out trying to outdo each other, you know, like how much per episode it costs? Are they gonna get their return on investment, Dalan? How about that? We'll ask you that one.
Well, I think in this particular case, they're doing the thing that they used to do with older cartoons, is that even though the show or the movie might cost a good amount of money, they're still making money back in merchandise because they create a fan base by making quality content. And then they go out and buy all these posters, backpacks, thermoses, you got stupid looking hats that bobble, whatever it might be. So, yeah.
We need that bobble.
But the point being is that they put all this money into these things so they could sell it in other formats.
Well, what about you, Lise? Does this say anything? Does this make you want to watch Rings of Power? Which I think is that Lord of the Rings, or no? That's something different. Yeah. Rings of Power. Does this give you any sense of like this is gonna be amazing when I watch it, or it's like?
No, not really. No, not really. That's not something that impresses me. Seeing how that to me is just like why are you spending that much money on?
You could have probably budgeted a couple of places.
Yeah. So we'll see. That they're definitely trying to outdo themselves. I'm pretty sure they're gonna come out with what's your favorite show, Dalan? Luke Cage or whatever. I'm sure Luke Cage is gonna cost $100 million per episode. All right.
Wait, are you doing this because I'm black? Hold on.
Salient Point number 66. Carlos Macias, master of I will not, you know, I don't know what to say, Dalan, when you say stuff like that. Carlos Macias, Dalan Kirkwood from Up in the Mountains. Thank you for Kirkwood. I apologize for that, sir. We're helping your dad move this week, right? We're figuring that out.
Yes, that is the plan. And you know what? I'm gonna hit up Juan just so we can see if he'll help too.
Oh damn! Hey Juan, don't listen to this one. My bad, dude. My bad. Luis Mendez on the wheels of steel. Thank you for joining me, sir.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see you guys. I don't. There's a trend that this thing is going longer and longer. So we gotta figure something out.